Hey guys, I'm going to take a minute and show you how to fillet an aloe vera. So aloe vera is amazingly healing, and there's so many properties to them that you may not even be aware of it. Most people know it's going to help with skin stuff and burns, like if you go out in the sun and you've gotten too much sun, right? So yes, it's amazing for burns. It's also good for wound healing. It's also good for bruises, sprains. It really helps to heal those things, the aloe gel in the inside. But did you know it's also good for digestion? It's good for stuck bowels that need to move. It's also good for inflammation and even lung support. This is probably one of my #1 go-tos for people who have been smoking tobacco for a while and then they want to clear it out of their lungs. So let's find out how to use actual aloe, not the stuff you get in the store that can be a little questionable. It can be tricky working with these guys. So they're extremely sharp. These edges right here are like a saw. And in fact, in nature, if you need anything, if you need a saw, this is your go-to. Get your aloe plant. So I'm gonna put gloves on because this is a very messy process, but also want to be careful about making sure that I am keeping those sharp saw blades away from my fingers. So when I start, I'm going to start with the sides, getting those off, and the two ends. So I always start filleting by cutting off the end of both, and usually this fatter end I'll do on this side and slice it like this. Then you can see there is this gel part right here. That's what we're after. The gelatinous part is the most skin healing properties. Can you eat the outside leaf? Yes, but it's very bitter and you can only do so much of that because your stomach can only handle so much. So I like to actually take off the blades, or the saw tines if you will, by cutting all of this off just like this on both sides. This is going to make it a little safer for me to handle and not quite so dangerous. It does take a bit to get through that, so be aware of that. And also know that you're going to see two things on the inside. One is going to be a very liquid, almost free-flowing gel, and then the other is going to be a solid piece. For skin purposes, you'll use both. You'll use that free-falling gelatinous liquid that goes everywhere, and then of course for internally you just want what's on the inside. So at this point I'm going to fillet it, and this is where I'm going to take a different knife. I take a fillet knife and I'm going to try as best I can to cut it this way, pulling as much of the skin off as I can. And there's a reason why I've picked this particular leaf to work with, to show you something once I get it open. So there's still some amazingly good stuff that you can use here, and we're going to scrape that off in a minute, but there's two sides to this bad boy, so we have to get the other side off. I want my fillet knife for that. And trying to leave as much gel as I can in the solid chunk. But it's going to start to come off in pieces, generally speaking, just fine. At this point, I'm wearing the gloves mainly because it's very slippery and messy, and the gloves tend to give me a little bit more traction, believe it or not. So I'm going to show you something. So the gel part right here, this is the stuff that you can eat. It's anti-inflammatory. This is good for digestion and inside your body and inflammation and the lungs. All this other sticky, gooey stuff you can use externally just fine. The very, very tip of this is just a tiny bit pink here, and that means it started to go off. So for internal purposes, I would not use that. And that's what I want you to see here, is this has more pink on it, and that's where I would stop for using it internally. If it's just external, I could still use some of it because I wouldn't want to waste it. However, it's going to shorten the shelf life of whatever it is that I make. So just know that. So this part is what we want to keep. And I'm going to put it over here in my keep pile. And all this other slimy gooey stuff, because I'm going to use it for sun skin burns, I'm going to use it. Then I like to take a spoon and I literally scrape off the excess gel that I was missing, because there's a lot here that we want to make sure that we get. You don't really want to waste this, because it's a lot of really good medicine in just one leaf. One leaf will actually give you a lot. So once you've scraped up what you actually want, then you're ready to use it however you want. If you're using this externally for skin, you're probably going to be putting this in your blender and mixing it up. And then maybe you're going to put it with something to help preserve it a little longer. If you're going to use it just like this by itself, then you're probably going to freeze it or put it in the refrigerator, and you've got a very short amount of time to use it just by itself, which is probably going to be closer to something like a week or less. As soon as you add something to it to help preserve it from nature, like vitamin C, rose hips, acerola, something along these lines, now you're going to extend the shelf life in the refrigerator to closer to 3 months and get more out of it. Or of course, you can freeze it and it feels really good on those sunburns in your skin. As soon as you need it, it's there. So this is a way that you can fillet your aloe vera and get the most out of it. Hope you enjoyed it. If you like videos like this and you appreciate them, we love it when you share them with your friends, subscribe, like, and then maybe you can even follow us on all of our social media platforms so you can find more information just like this. Thanks.